What's up, boss? You believe that? You hold on. Do you believe that? Let's go. Doubt y'all and they ain't gonna be personal. You think I'm gonna let them naysay y'all and they ain't gonna get personal.
All right. What is going on? Buffs Nation. Almost the weekend. Hope you guys aren't working too hard today on a Thursday morning. Got a lot to discuss today. I'm excited about this topic. And yeah, y'all hit that like. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments as always. Feel free to say hi. This is why I love doing this. I'm not just talking to a wall the whole time. I'm talking to you guys. It always makes it a lot of fun. So appreciate y'all as always. I want to start this video out today by giving some people some credit. Just cutting the music, getting straight to it. There are a few different accounts that I want to give credit to that have been an immense help for me lately. And I'm hoping that y'all go subscribe to them if you have not already. So let's go ahead and highlight some of these channels. First, I want to give a big shout out to the Buffton Prime guys. They have been helping. Well, we've had some discussions here on Twitter lately. They have really helped me with one of the copyright strikes that I got because they were dealing with some of the same stuff. And obviously, they should be your go-to channel for really getting an in-depth look at film. Played college. They understand things at a way more detailed level than I do. I'm still doing the film reviews. I love that. But I love that their perspective and the nuance that they provide in that. So y'all definitely be sure to go subscribe to them. Also, want to give a shout out to my friend Rawhide. He now has this series where he will do audio or cut up audio clips of previous shows in the form of now a cartoon format called Raw Tunes. Shout out to Outsider Sports, also a friend of the channel, put together the theme music, and it's just been stuck in my head all day, man. So forget starting your Saturday mornings with Looney Tunes, right? Start it with Raw Tunes, and he was a big inspiration. His topic yesterday on Raw Tunes is why I'm getting in here talking about Taje McCoy today, which we'll get to here in a minute. Lastly, want to give a shout out to Coach Rispress. All three of these accounts you can find in the link or links in my description, but please go subscribe to Coach Riss. He gives recruiting 101 tips, super insightful. I mean, you can see like I'm pretty much watching all of his videos, sometimes multiple times. So if you want to get a peek behind the curtain on how this recruiting process goes from somebody like that's from his perspective, very, very informative and helpful. And I got to hit him up to come on the show sometime. He's somebody, him and Corey Phillips, I'd really want to interview. So anyways, guys, thanks for entertaining my shout outs here with those channels. Again, please go subscribe to all of them. It's what helps make this Colorado Buffaloes YouTube community like the best in college sports. Wouldn't you agree? So want to give also a quick hello, Gary Lewis, Stanford, Jen J, Shirley. Wonderful to have you guys in here this morning. Again, apologies. I'm a little bit starting this a little bit earlier than I do sometimes. That has to do with just work schedule, everything like that. But I want to get into today's topic. And when I was watching Raw Tunes yesterday, again, y'all go tune into Raw Tunes, he was talking about how the true building blocks behind college football programs. It's when they're able to develop those 3-star guys that have talent, but maybe are a bit raw to start out with, pun intended, okay? And they become cornerstone or impactful players on the roster, on the team. And so he gave a few different guys that he wants to see take that next jump. I won't spoil all three, but of course, the first one he talked about was Carter Stoutmire. I'm part of the Carter Stoutmire supporter crew, the Carter Stoutmire Stan gang. I mean, I feel like I'm leading it right there with him. Another player that he talked about that he wants to see developed, forming into an impactful player here on the roster. Inside linebacker Victory Johnson. He's going to be a redshirt freshman this year. And I'll leave out the last player that he mentioned. But that got me thinking, who are some other guys that I'm really still very excited for? And again, we can be, hey, what's up, Raw? We can lose sight of the guys that we brought in last year. Big time recruiting class, right? We brought in over 60 guys, okay? Over 30 freshmen, if I remember correctly. And who are some of those guys that you want to see take a jump in their redshirt freshman year? Who's that guy going from year one to year two to make that leap? Because we've seen that, before. Extreme case, right? Johnny Manziel, okay? Redshirt freshman. Hadn't really played much at all before at Texas A&M, but then you see him make that big jump his second year in college. Now, am I saying any of these guys are going to be Heisman candidates? No, but that's kind of the idea that I'm bringing up is, hey, you've been here, you're in the weight training, you understand what it takes to be successful at the college level now. You're getting a ton of coaching, and you're settled into college life, your responsibilities, you're learning how to handle this from a more professional perspective than you are, when you initially came in, right? And who's one of those guys that I'm hoping that can take that leap? It's a guy that I believe Brian Howell tagged or coined as his most underrated or under the radar commit last year, which was edge rusher Taje McCoy. So let's get into it. Appreciate the kind words, Jen J. I'm a goofy guy, but I appreciate y'all are here with me. So I'm going to go ahead and share some of his huddle tape, and I can kind of talk through a little bit about who he is, what he's done this year. All right. Just so you guys can have an idea of, okay, what kind of athlete is this guy? In junior season, 95 tackles. Okay. Bodie, what's going on, man? But Taje McCoy. Okay. Last year, ranked the number 46 edge prospect in the class, number 7 player in Oklahoma, 3-star guy. Okay, when you're rated as the 46th pass rusher in the country, it is expected that you are developing into an impact player at that position at the Power 4 now, at the Power 4 college football level. You're not necessarily expected to be a starter or anything like that early on in your college career, but you're somebody that definitely has the potential to develop into an impact player, in this case, on the okay. So his junior and senior year together, 186 tackles, 34 tackles for loss, 17 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, and an interception, okay? Finished his senior season with 97 tackles. Wow, okay? He also saw a little bit of action at running back. That might be later on in this highlight reel. 33 carries for 231 yards. Again, this is an athlete. We've seen Coach Prime target athletes that have impacts on multiple phases of the game, at least offense and defense, and sometimes special teams, okay? Taje McCoy still fits that mold. Let's see if there was anything else that I wanted to point out here from his high school. That's really about it. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. On the website, they have him shown as a sophomore, but really he's a redshirt freshman. if I remember correctly, because, yeah, looking at the scholarship chart, used his red shirt this year. He registered 1 tackle against Nebraska. He played like a total of 13 snaps on special teams. That was in 4 games. Wait, so did he use his red shirt? How does that work? Okay. TCU, Nebraska, Colorado State, and USC. We saw him take a total of 13 special teams snaps. And then on defense, we saw him against Nebraska take a total of 11 snaps where he had that assist tackle. Okay. So it was hard to kind of get a grasp on what type of player or what he could really bring to the team last year, just because he played a total of like 24 snaps. But you can see here on the highlight tape, he definitely is an above average athlete at the high school game. Harold, can't you play 4 games and still get redshirted? Oh, yes. Okay, it's 4 games max. So they had him play that threshold and then redshirted him the rest of the year. But you can see like he's got some nice bend to him on some of these pass rush situations. And if we're looking at the edge room right now, okay, going into this year, of course, we have guys like BJ Green, Samuel Okunloa. I think we're expecting those guys to be like our mainstay edge rushers, but then we also got guys like Keaton Wade that can play the edge, can also play a little bit of inside. I'm wondering if we see him play more inside this year. We got somebody like Arden Walker, who should be taking a big jump going into his 3rd year, that I thought was one of our most improved defensive players this past year as well. But then outside of that, okay, say we got that 4 deep at the edge position, there's a handful of guys that really could establish themselves as being one of those rotational players to have an impact on the team at the edge position. So I know that from New Mexico State, we've brought in Nikhil Webb-Walker. He's a guy that we don't have like very many physical specimens like him on the roster, but not a ton of production yet, even at New Mexico State. But you see here on film, Taje McCoy, he's one of those guys that I think could develop into a very well-rounded edge, somebody who can play and run support really, really well, which is something that you don't always think of when it comes to an edge player, right? You want to see, the first thing that comes to my mind at least is, hey, are you getting sacks? Are you getting pressures? Are you causing chaos for the quarterback back there? But if we're going to have a very good defense, we need edge players that are well-rounded. We need guys that can support in the run game and not be targets in the run game, to where opposing offensive coordinators are running run plays in the direction of our edges, right? This is a guy I think that could develop into somebody that doesn't really have any glaring deficiencies in his game, is somebody that is seen to be a strength in both the run and pass. But yeah, we also have some other guys on the depth chart. Kyrie Mans, Jeremiah Brown, these guys are seniors this year. And I would like to see them take another step in their production this year. I would say that I wish I could have seen a little bit more from them. I think Kyrie Mans is definitely could develop into one of our better pass rushers. We'll see if he takes that leap this year. But, outside of that main 4 of BJ Green, Sam Okunloa, Arden Walker, Keaton Wade, really outside of that, I don't know who's going to be that next guy up in the rotation. And I would hope that Coach Dancy, that Vincent Dancy, sees the potential of somebody like Taje McCoy and can really develop him into that next man up come 2024. This is football. We're going to be dealing with injuries, right? That 5th guy in the edge room is likely going to get some time. At the very least, he's going to get time on special teams, okay? Oh, Jonas, thanks for bringing up Quincy Wiggins. He's another one of those guys that we could see him be that 5th guy, be that next guy in the edge rotation, or that 4th guy, okay? Especially if we move away to inside linebacker. But this is the type of development we need to develop. These types of players that come in here, not necessarily the blue chippiest type of guys, okay, but have the potential to really be an impact player for us 2-3 years down the line from when they come in. And so, yeah, this is somebody that I think that we should keep an eye on, because this was a player last year at this time that was talked about as being one of those sleeper recruits that we brought in who could make an impact for us in 2023. Of course, we didn't see him on the field by the time the season rolled around, but this is a guy that I don't think that we should forget about. Not at all, okay? And it would not surprise me to see him take a leap and make an impact his redshirt freshman year. And I'll share this as well before I get into some more of the comments. It's kind of funny how Buff Zone has this scholarship chart kind of organized, because they have Quincy Wiggins right now listed as a defensive lineman, where I feel like he is more of an edge, but again, isn't he like 270 pounds? I mean, that's wonderful if we can have a guy like that on the edge creating absolute chaos, right? There are some really impactful edges that in the NFL that play at a smaller weight than he does. For instance, I think Von Miller plays around that 250-pound size. He might be one of those smaller edges, but Quincy Wiggins, he's another guy that I feel like has a little bit of versatility. We could play him a little bit more inside, not inside, but a little bit more inside, depending on what kind of front we're playing, right? More so like a hand in the ground type of guy. I feel like then. And Taje McCoy, I mean, you've seen him have his hand in the ground. You've seen him rush standing up a little bit more outside of the tackle. And then we got guys like Brandon Davis Swain and Eric Brantley, 4-star guys that, right? Was Eric Brantley a 4-star? I think he was. I could be wrong, but borderline 4-star guy. And then, of course, Brandon Davis Swain. These are guys that, especially Brandon Davis Swain, it would not surprise me at all to see him have a consistent rotational play time here his true freshman year. But, I mean, it would not surprise me, again, if we see somebody like Taje McCoy really make that leap. Just like, Arden Walker, it took him a little bit throughout his college career before he was getting serious time. I mean, this was his sophomore year this past year, and didn't get a ton of time at Mizzou, but we saw him again become, in my opinion, one of our most improved defensive players throughout the year last year. And he's somebody that I'm expecting to have a significant role in this team, whether he's starting or not. So yeah, like overall, the edge room is really becoming a position group that I have my eye on, especially with the young guys. Okay. And we got Kyron Garcia coming in here at inside linebacker. Morgan Pearson, of course, is moving on to the tight end position, but Victory Johnson, Kofi Taylor Barracks, like especially Kofi Taylor Barracks. I mean, I would love it if he could take a jump. I'll need to do another video on him. I mean, it's probably been about a year since I've done a video on Victory Johnson or a Kofi Taylor Barracks. So I'll definitely do a video on them this offseason for sure. But it would not surprise me if we see one of these guys taking snaps at inside linebacker. Again, we got Levante Bentley, Jalen Wester. We'll see what can come from guys like Brandon Gant, Demoy Kennedy. Trevor Woods right now is listed as a safety, but I mean, who knows what's really happening with him, right? Yeah, like I think that circling it back to the topic of this conversation, I think Coach Dancy, like, we're going to see how good of a developer he is with guys like McCoy and Brantley coming into this edge room, Quincy Wiggins, all of that. We have a lot of raw talent. Now, can we refine it? Can we develop their game to where they're really starting to excel at the details? Okay. So with that being said, thanks for listening to my little rant today, and I'll be interested to hear what y'all have to say. I'll keep this up here so while I answer questions. Okay. Lamar, thanks so much for the super chat. Saying, I think Kai Garcia and Kyrie Mans will get significant snaps. With this inside linebacker room, I'm trying to keep my eyes or my mind open, rather, because outside of Jalen Wester, man, I got no idea. I got no idea who is going to be that other guy on the inside. I think if I'm going to bet money on it right now, it's Levante Bentley. But other guys getting significant snaps at that position, I really can't call it. Some people think Trevor Wood sticks around. I don't think he will, but if he does, again, it's not going to surprise me if he sees snaps at linebacker. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Pro Football Focus grades for Mans because if I remember correctly, I thought he had some really good pass rushing numbers, if I remember correctly. Same size as Taje McCoy, Eric Brantley, 6'3", 230, okay. And 135 snaps, so not a ton to go off of. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty decent, like, for where our team was at this past year. 68.3 pass rushing grade, okay. He had a total of 6 pressures, a sack. But again, sometimes it takes a little bit when you're coming up a level. Playing at G5, I believe was where was he the one at Old Dominion or Maine? Maine might have been FCS. Yeah. So playing at Maine, sometimes it just takes a little bit to make that jump, a little bit more time. And you know, the NFL is going to look at, okay, when you took your jump, was it later on in your career or whatever? To me, I don't really care at all when it comes to your age here in college football. Guys can be late bloomers. Yes, that impacts their draft stock significantly. You see the 21-year-old players drafted usually way higher than you do the 23-year-old players for the most part. But who cares about that? I'm talking about 2024 Colorado Buffaloes. He's a guy that could definitely take a leap here, being a little bit of an older player. And I wonder, yeah, he doesn't have a red shirt or like a does he have a red shirt left? No, he has used his red shirt season. So bummer. I wish we could get some more out of him. Bodie, I believe Preston Hodge is going to make a huge impact. Yes. Yes. It's nice that we got some guys that we feel confident playing in the slot. I think, again, he's a guy that I'm very, very excited about. And I love that we have guys right now. Let me go ahead and find him. That can kind of do a multiple things. Guy that can play in the slot. He can play safety. Just absolutely killed it for Liberty. Again, coming up a level, you know, coming up from the G5. We'll see how he makes that transition. A lot of the guys that we brought in last year, of course, were coming up from G5. Some of those guys made that transition very well. For instance, Zay Weaver, Jimmy Horn, those guys. We had other guys that did not make that transition very well. So I think, though, that Preston Hodge is going to be one of those guys that makes that transition well. That's at least my hope. But you see here, played 457 snaps in the slot. He played boundary corner a little bit. Didn't play too much at like a traditional safety role, but he's the guy that can kind of do a little bit of everything. Again, taking snaps in the box, at safety, at slot, at boundary corner. He's a guy that can kind of do just a little bit of everything for you. And I mean, this coverage grade, 90.4. I mean, this is elite stuff. This is why you saw him rated as one of the best cornerbacks in college football last year. So my hope is that he makes that transition going up a level very well. And he's a guy that really helps out, in my opinion, what is still the strength of our team, which is the secondary. And you're going to see them look better with a well-improved edge room, okay, of BJ Green, Okunloa, all those guys. And again, if we can get a jump out of somebody like Webb Walker or Samuel Okunloa or one of the guys that we brought in, whether that's Eric Brantley, Taje McCoy, I mean, wow, we're going to be feeling great. The pass rush is really going to help the secondary. You can't expect them all to, cover guys like a blanket for, 6-7 seconds all the time, right? Love that. Stanford saying the bus locker room has a completely different vibe than last year. Yes, not everybody's the new guy now, and so it's easier for guys to establish themselves as leaders. You have that culture that's in there. I think we're getting rid of some of the guys that I think over time we saw that were more about themselves than they were about the team. And that's guys who are coming in. They also know what they're getting into now. There was a divide last year, even though we had a small amount of guys still kept on the team from the 2022 squad. You still had a number of guys that were there that they weren't signing up for the whole show, right? When they initially came. So I think everybody that's coming in, they're going to be more so culture fits, all that. Of course, there's been some talk on other channels and whatnot about some of the drama regarding, guys that have come in here and then transferred and all that. At the end of the day, guys, there's a reason for every transfer. There's politics on every team. Okay. There's guys who feel like they never got a full, a fair shot. That happens at every team. So I feel like guys who, if anybody's using this as like, oh, Dawson left because of this or that, or Willie Gain, I don't know. Who are some other guys that have left the program? I think it's a good sign that we have had a lot of guys stick around that have played impactful roles for us. Really, the guys who transferred out, they just weren't guys who were getting playing time. And again, that happens at every school. Guys like politics. There's politics everywhere. There are always going to be favorites everywhere. This is not specific or unique to Colorado right now and Coach Prime. And anybody who's trying to use this is to say like Coach Prime is a fake coach or anything like that, or says one thing, doesn't. Guys, this is college football. This is a business. There are going to be situations in which players on the team feel like they didn't get a fair shot. That happens everywhere. And it's up to Coach Prime to play the guys that he feels like are the best. For the most part, I don't really have an issue with the guys that got playing time last year. Outside of, I wish Dawson got more playing time, but he had a concussion. East Coast Kev, appreciate your generosity. $5 super chat really means a lot. You guys are helping make my day. Not changing the subject, but I can't wait for Warren Sapp. Prime confirmed yesterday him and Black Bully together. Hey, who's Black Bully? Are we talking? Is that Coach Sal? I need to know everybody's nicknames. All right, but hey, let's talk about Warren Sapp. I'll forgive you, East Coast Kev, because I have loved the little break that I've gotten over the last few weeks where I'm not being asked my opinion on Warren Sapp every time I hop on here. But I am excited to see him here in March when he's supposed to be here. Block Bully, thank you, Wonkwo, our best interior defensive lineman. I think we can all say that. Am I getting gray hairs? Are you guys giving me gray hairs? Is that what this channel's doing to me? That's not right. That's not right. But I'm excited to see how he helps develop these guys on the interior, because right now we need a guy like Rawhide was saying, like Chaz Wallace, to take that step. That is still the biggest question mark on this defense for me, is the interior defensive line. That is the room that I still have the most concern about. We need somebody like Anquin Barnes to make a jump to where they're an impactful player, earning minutes or earning snaps and playing impactful snaps. He wasn't doing that at Alabama. He wasn't earning snaps. Okay. Quincy Wiggins wasn't doing that either. He wasn't earning snaps at LSU. We've seen this before, where we've brought guys in from big time programs and they've still washed out. Antonio Alfano. You guys remember him? 5-star lineman from Alabama, brought in here from by Mel Tucker during 2019. Guy didn't play a snap for us. So I'm a little bit more hopeful that these guys will be more impactful and productive than Alfano. But just because they come from a blue chip program doesn't mean they're going to be studs. But my hope is that they are, and that we have coaches here that are able to develop those guys to where they can take the next step, right? Tarian Carter, Brandon Davis Swain, Shane Cokes, like all these guys, Chaz Wallace, man, I would love for them to take another step to being productive, because we were bad last year. How can I forget Amari McNeil? He's a guy that has the potential to be a starter on this team, right? And can he take another jump similar to Arden Walker in his third year? Wouldn't that be wonderful? I would love it. But I think that when you're combining Warren Sapp with Coach Sal, that's a great mix, okay? That's a great duo, tag team, all of that. And they better be sucking all the knowledge out of him they can, right? McKinney. King thinks McKinney is going to be starting with Travis. We'll see. This is going to be really interesting, because right now I'm going to bet on Cormani, but it would not surprise me at all if McKinney's going to be that other starter. And I think that's a very good problem that we have right now, that we just can't call it on that cornerback 2 position. McKinney is brought in here to push everybody in that DB room. We still got guys like Omarion Cooper too. And we'll see maybe, what happens with Adam Hopkins having that position change later on in his redshirt freshman year. So like if McKinney starts, he's earned it, man. And I think it was very important for us to bring in somebody of that potential, because we saw, again, if Travis goes down, we're thin there. We are very thin there right now. And we definitely need some more depth. So I feel like we've improved that talent level at the cornerback position this year. And McKinney, I guess he has another year advantage kind of on Cormani right now. This was his sophomore year at Oklahoma State, right? Starter at Oklahoma State. Needs to work out some of the inconsistencies in his game, but usually that's what you see happen from a player that, the more years they have in college, they become more well-rounded players. It's interesting to see that we got a lot of guys here with the potential to take, in my opinion, some serious jumps. But yeah, like all this stuff about politics and football and, Coach Prime not being partial enough to certain guys from his backyard out. Who cares, man? You either produce or you're gone. Yeah, that's right. We always got somebody live here at some point with Buffsland. Yes, Chidoze block bully. Thank you for reminding me about that. And the gray hairs, man, they came from, that 2022 season. Not only was that a terrible year for the Buffs, going 1-11, but man, that about just killed my Broncos fandom, man. Having Russell Wilson come in here, signing him to that big old contract extension. Then we hired the Michael Scott of NFL coaches. I had no fun in my football fandom in 2022 with Nathaniel Hackett and Carl Durrell. Big says Cooper starting. That's right. Chrissy saying, David, don't compare Shane Cokes to Anquin Barnes. We had a DE playing DT. I didn't mean to make a direct comparison to them, but in terms of guys that I'm just hoping we see make an improvement, like those guys need to improve regardless of what position they're playing at. But yeah, on the flip side, I won't compare Anquin Barnes to Shane Cokes because Shane Cokes actually plays meaningful snaps in his career. I know that's mean. I'm sorry. But yeah, but before I'm going to expect anything about Anquin Barnes being a stud for us, man, the dude needs to play more than like 30 snaps, right? And King, man, I love this about this point about DJ McKinney. He already has that Big 12 game experience. He knows what it's like. He knows the types of receivers that he's going to be going up against. That's great. And I do love the fact that we brought in a handful of guys playing in the Big 12 that were starters for other Big 12 teams. Yeah, but yeah, don't do Shane Cokes like that. Come on now. Anquin Barnes played what? I'm going to look this up right now so I can give you an accurate number here. 6'5", 315. I love that. Okay. Bro played a total of 8 snaps this year. Yikes. Yeah, total 8 snaps in 2 games against Middle Tennessee State and Chattanooga. Don't be doing Shane Cokes like that, man. Anquin Barnes got to bring it this year, okay? That's why it's like, dude, I don't even know what to think of him. Bro's played 8 total college football snaps, man. Some of y'all got him penciled in as a starter. Bro's played 8 snaps. Not doing that. Dude, I don't care. I don't care that I will fight you on this, Chrissy. I don't care that Anquin Barnes got accepted into Alabama to a degree. Because like I said, Colorado has brought in a former 5-star Alabama lineman before, in Antonio Alfano, and the dude couldn't get his stuff right to get on the field, man. I've seen this happen before. Just because we brought in a former 4-star, 5-star Alabama guy doesn't mean jack shit if he's not taking that step with his new opportunity. I hope he does. But if I had to pick a guy right now to go make a play for me, out of those 2 guys, it's definitely Shane Cokes. I'm going dark side on this, man. Yes. Definitely go watch the Buffed in Prime Phil breakdown of DJ McKinney. I got to be honest, Harold, it's still on my watch later playlist, so I haven't done that yet. And I agree, East Coast Kev, this wide receiver room, I still think it's our most talented position group that we have right now. Dawson might have entered the portal anyways later this year. I still think that he's a starting slot receiver in big time college football. So yeah, it's tough, man. I thought he should have been getting more snaps than we saw this year, especially after that Nebraska game. But it is what it is. Like, everybody, you can go to every program and there are fan bases that have questions about guys getting snaps on every team. That just happens with it. All right. Does anybody else have any more questions and comments before I wrap this thing up? I'm sure y'all got another show to get to soon anyways. I'm sure DNVR will be live a bit later today. Jen J saying the Buffed Prime breakdown on DJ McKinney was wonderful. They did a great job. And I saw very briefly that they were able to get some film on him that I don't have. I think I looked at his game against Texas in the Big 12 championship game. That was a rough one for the Oklahoma State defense, but it wasn't because of DJ McKinney. They weren't scoring on him. That was probably the one big positive that I took away from that game was that, hey, Texas didn't put up 40, 50 points because of DJ McKinney. I feel the same way, King. I wouldn't be surprised if Dawson ends up on another Big 12 team. I think he is a starting caliber slot in Power 4 football. That's how I feel about it. And the dude can play. The dude can play. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Let me know on the replay if you're part of the Carter Stoutmeyer Stan gang, just like me. I guess I'm gonna start one for Shane Cokes. I guess I'll start one for Shane Cokes now too, Chrissy. Just to troll a bit. But yeah, I'm excited to see what we can get from Shane Cokes playing DN this year. I think it will be better, obviously, than him playing out of position this past year. But shout outs to Lamar, East Coast Kev, Bodie C. Appreciate you guys as always. We'll see if I'm back later today. I've been battling like a cold. I don't know if you guys can hear this. I kind of passed out last evening. And guys, I forgot to say this. I'm not wearing anything Nebraska. It's Arsenal. It's Arsenal. Okay. So I'm not wearing red because of Nebraska. I just wanted to get that out there. So anyways, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate the love as always. And please consider subscribing. We're on our way to 7,000 subs. Crazy. So till next time, guys, go Buffs.